I'm Bob.
I'm Mike.
And we're the Board Game Rundown. And today we're going to give you our first impressions on Looot.
Thank you for adding the extra.
yes, yeah.
It's not just
Loot. It's
There's
Looot.
3 O's.
Yeah. And it's a tile kind of placement game with a spatial puzzle designed by Charles Chevalier and Laurent Escoffier, I'm going to say.
And can you pronounce the publisher?
Gigamic.
Or is it Gigamic?
Gigamic.
We don't know.
I like Gigamic. If you know how to pronounce it, let us know. You know how to pronounce it.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah. But it's a really interesting game where you're taking these Vikings and you're placing them on this board adjacent to other Vikings, and you're collecting resources. As you collect those resources, you're going to take those little hexes and you're going to put them on your map, and you want to surround the little huts that you have on there. As you put the appropriate resources around them, you will flip them over so they will score points. You'll also be taking these long ships that will give you score increases depending on like which ones they are, as long as you complete them. But if you don't complete them, they're negative points, so you don't want to be too greedy and take ones that you don't want. You are collecting houses by getting adjacent to them. You're collecting towers by creating a road of workers between them, or Vikings, I should say. And then you're collecting these castles by getting 4 in a row next to them, or at least chaining off of adjacency to them. And this is just a really neat kind of spatial puzzle that you're trying to figure out. And you're placing, I think it's like 15 to 20 different Vikings on your board, collecting axes, sheep, gold, wood, and then those different buildings that I was talking about. And that's the game. It plays in like 30 to
45 was on the
minutes.
box.
And the box says 2/4. And I said, is that 2 or 4? And he says, no, it's 2, 3, or 4. And I was like, well, in like America, that kind of means like 2 or 4, and he says in France they have no problem. So I guess we're gonna go with that. Yeah. So Mike, what were your first thoughts about it?
First of all, I really enjoyed this game. I was really excited about it coming into Gen Con because, first of all, the last 2 Gen Cons, anything that Hachette has had their hands on, has just been like
stellar.
It has been great.
Yeah.
We've been talking about Sky Team ever since Gen Con last year.
Yep.
It sold out, and now it's won a Spiel, and it deserved it.
Yep.
So now it's like every year I come to Gen Con, I want to know what Hachette, Gigamic, Gigamic, anybody, I'm looking at what they are bringing to Gen Con. And so I was looking at this ahead of the convention, but I really enjoyed it. I like how there's 2 puzzles going on at once. You've got your main board, which it's so simple, but your main board, you're just placing a Viking and you're gaining a resource, but depending where you place them, how you place them, and then you're taking that tile, and now there's another puzzle on your own board, working these 2 puzzles at the same time with just 1 Viking placement.
Yep.
I was super impressed with this game. The spatial puzzle, both spatial puzzles feel really, really good.
Yeah. I was taught this game. Tim and I sat down and played through a game, and we had a really good time with it. I was then able a couple hours later to go up and teach 4 people who hadn't played how to play the game in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They played it in 30, 45 minutes. So it's easy to get to the table. It's simple. It's a fun puzzle. I know Dan was a big fan of it. He gives it a full thumbs up over behind the camera over there. Yeah, it's just really fun. Spencer gives it a full thumbs up. So yeah, it's a pretty good.
Dan's over there.
Disembodied thumbs.
There's a lot of different ways to play it as far as strategy goes too.
Yes,
like Dan was going with the cheapest buildings, the easiest ones to obtain.
Get.
All you got to do to get a hut is just put a Viking
One guy next to it. Yep.
But then there's other buildings you can get which increase the points that you get for huts. So you can just keep spamming huts. But you can also try to get a bunch of points out of castles, which I tried to do
huge points.
Unsuccessfully.
They're still huge points. I did that successfully during my first game.
Well, I made a lot. The mistakes were made. But I still got a lot of points out of my castles. There was other areas where I was kind of slacking, and I didn't plan very well, which will change in future plays.
I hope not.
But it just goes to the idea that there's multiple strategies in this game
that are viable.
You could go for a bunch of castles and score a ton of points. You could go for getting points off of those little huts.
Yeah.
Like you could try to get a whole bunch of points off of just trees and stuff if you want.
Yeah, that's what I went for. It didn't work that time. Spencer he had towers on lockdown, and he scored a ton of points on his towers, and it was just you couldn't catch up. So
you get a bunch of points off the axes too.
Yes.
There's multiple different avenues to winning this game, and 2 spatial puzzles at the same time.
Right, all based on one little tiny Viking. That's it.
Yeah. It was
very well
satisfying,
done.
very puzzly. And for such a simple rule set, it has a good amount of crunch to it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I did say it's a first impression for me, but I have played it twice and taught it once. So it's a little bit
What's
more
your
than
score
first
then,
impression.
Bob? I'm just kidding. We won't go there.
I won't go there. We will. There will be a video, so keep an eye out for that.
We'll review it.
But there will definitely be a review coming for that because everybody's played it, some of us multiple times, and we really enjoy it. It's a great game, easy to get to the table. It sold out the first couple of days. I went by there maybe 2 hours ago, and they had a small stack left, but not very many. So it might sell out also. So said Hachette, crushing it.
They are.
Yeah.
Or Gigamic. Gigamic.
Gigamic.
Something.
Gigamic.
We're going to find that out.
How do you not like Gigamic? That sounds like it'd be like the one you would choose.
I don't know. Gigamic was my second.
I'm going to go definitely not that one.
It was a miss coming up with that one. So there you go. That's our first impression of Looot from that one French publisher. Starts with a G.
Yeah.
Live from Origins. Origins. Wow. We're not live.
No,
we're
and
not
Tim
at
is
Origins.
Here. It's Gen Con, and
Tim is here. It's really
somewhere.
weird. That's why it's throwing me off.
Yeah.
Tim's here. I can't even think straight.
Yeah.
So
you get so flustered when he's here.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Okay.
All my mental energy is on memes.
It is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So there you go. That was our first impression of Loot. Thanks for watching. For the Board Game Rundown, I was Mike.
Bob.
Later.
If you can say the title's only 3 words.